Pride is a joyful celebration of love filled with rainbows. But in recent years, it feels the reason we have Pride may be a little lost in translation. If you're on any social media in June, it's hard to miss the explosion. For the past several years, hundreds, if not thousands, of brands have rainbowified their logos in celebration of Pride Month. And as routine as it feels now, the saturation of rainbow logos and marketing targeting the queer community is actually a pretty recent cultural phenomenon. Now, I do want to say that I do love seeing support that wasn't always there, but those actions alone are not the issue. It's how genuine their intentions are that we need to examine. Pride began as a series of riots in the late 60s led by Marsha P. Johnson and other trans women of color as a response to police brutality against the LGBTQ community. We celebrate Pride not only to commemorate those that fought for the rights the queer community has today, but also to bring awareness to the work that still needs to be done. For example, there are at least 68 countries today that have laws criminalizing us, some of which still have public lashings and death sentences. Russia, for instance, currently has concentration camps where they are detaining and torturing gays, sometimes to the point of death. In 2021, the United States had a record number of anti-trans bills introduced, and a record number of trans people murdered. In several countries, it is still illegal for gay men to donate blood. 7% of queer adults have been subjected to conversion therapy, which is still legal and practiced around the world. In fact, only 21 countries have actually banned it. With queer cannabis in particular, we also try to educate people that even though cannabis was legalized in direct response to the AIDS crisis, and queer people are more than twice as likely to use cannabis than straight people, we are still greatly underrepresented in the industry. Queer advertising has undergone a revolution in the past 30 to 40 years. As recognition of the community began to grow in the 80s and 90s, marketing agencies started popping up, catering to those demographics, making advertisements regionally and nationally. A few early advertisers successfully cemented themselves in queer pop culture before it was cool to do so. Absolute Vodka began advertising to a queer customer base in 1981. The brand frequently purchased full-page ads in gay magazines like The Advocate. There's also a particular stereotype about women who drive Subarus. It's even known by many as a lesbrew. This is no coincidence. In the 90s, Subaru identified 5 key consumer groups for their front-wheel drive vehicles: teachers and other educators, technical professionals, engineers, rugged individualists, and female heads of households, many of whom identified as lesbian. So, in a multi-year campaign, Subaru began marketing to a queer audience. This was before queer culture entered the mainstream. Ellen DeGeneres came out in '97. Will and Grace premiered in '98. Shows like The L Word and Queer Eye for the Straight Guy were still years away. Bill Clinton hadn't even enacted the Defense of Marriage Act yet. The ads featured subtle messages referencing queer culture. In one, Subaru license plate said P-Townie, a reference to the gayborhood of Provincetown, Massachusetts. And this license plate says Xena Lover. Other ads had messaging that read, "It's not a choice, it's the way we're built." Subaru wasn't explicitly trying to change minds or encourage acceptance and support for LGBTQ people. Subaru claims that they were never saying it was a gay car or that it was a gay brand. They were just admitting that they were selling cars to gay consumers. It was in the first person, it was in their voice, and it was in the open. And really, this became the template for a lot of what we see today. Successful ad campaigns that targeted the queer market convinced marketers that gay people were worth targeting. In the late 90s, queer people became more visible in the ads themselves. RuPaul and Katie Lang were featured in ads for MAC in 94 and 96. And then there was this 1994 IKEA commercial.
Well, we went to IKEA because we thought it was time for a serious dining room table, and
We have slightly different tastes. I mean, Steve's more into country. It frightens me, but at the same time, I have compassion.
we've been together about 3 years.
I met Steve at my sister's wedding.
Wedding?
I was really impressed with how just well-designed the IKEA furniture was.
He's really into craftsmanship.
I mean, these chairs are really sturdy.
This table included a leaf.
A leaf means
Commitment.
staying together, commitment. We've got another leaf waiting when we really start getting along.
This was the very first ad to air on TV that featured a same-sex couple. And while queer ads grew in popularity with these companies, so did backlash. A bomb threat was called in for a New York IKEA, which thankfully later turned out to be unfounded. Subaru received hateful letters and petitions, sometimes with 10,000 signatures, about the ads. The hate mail got so bad that the mailroom stopped delivering just in case of potential bomb threats. Though marketing to queer audiences grew in the early 2000s, it was around the start of the Obama administration that queer advertising experienced a massive boom. When the majority of Americans began to support same-sex marriage, corporations realized the backlash for having queer ads was less than the profit they could rake in. This was the tipping of the scale. But what exactly is rainbow washing, and where do we draw the line? Not all marketing during Pride season is rainbow washing. Rainbow washing is when a company or other institution lies about their support and panders to the LGBTQ community to sell products or gain favor. It's performative allyship. It's inauthentic and opportunistic. But why is rainbow washing such a big deal? Taking our cause to push products minimizes the challenges faced by our community and overshadows the efforts of the true allies. When these companies fund politicians who work against us, they are using our struggle to keep us struggling. Also, a study by Reboot Online found that more than 1/3 of Pride campaigns do not donate to LGBTQ causes at all. They are just profiting off us. Ask yourself these questions to avoid being fooled. Are they using the rainbow to hide other oppressive actions? Are they only vocal about LGBTQ people and our rights during Pride? Do they hire us? And what about in leadership? Do they support us with their resources, policies, and actions? And speaking of actions, notice how they handle controversies. Take note of how companies react when they're attacked by anti-LGBTQ groups. Do they stick to their principles or do they fold under pressure? Let's look at Hallmark. When the group 1 Million Moms put pressure on the Hallmark Channel to remove ads featuring a lesbian wedding, Hallmark did.
I, Ava, wonder if our guests would be here on time.
If we had a custom wedding website.
With our ceremony details on it.
And I, Taylor, would pick Zola to have and to host our wedding website.
Ours even matched our Zola invites. The whole thing was so freaking easy.
Do you think Zola could have made planning your perfect wedding easier?
We do. I do.
We've helped 1 million couples plan their weddings with free websites, registry, and invitations. Get started for free at Zola.com.
Soon after, the queer community took to Twitter to show their outrage. In just 2 days, hashtag boycott Hallmark and hashtag boycott Hallmark channel were used over 8,000 times. Amidst the backlash, Hallmark put the ads back on the air and issued an apology for removing them in the first place. While in the end they made the right decision, the damage was done. Censoring the ad showed a flip-flopping lack of commitment to stand up for our community. and demonstrated that their decisions are based on who's shouting the loudest rather than based on principles of fairness and equality. But I think we can see how inclusive they are in other ways without looking too hard. The former president had the audacity to sell pride hats, while at the same time they banned embassies from flying pride flags. His administration negatively impacted the LGBTQ community in so many ways. Kim Kardashian, who will use any excuse to sell her products, uses pride to sell her game. Let's look at some more examples of rainbow washing, starting with AT&T. In 2018, AT&T donated $1 million to the Trevor Project, an organization that works to prevent suicide in LGBTQ youth. From the outside, this looks fantastic. A massive corporation giving a hefty amount to a great cause. But that same year, they donated almost $3 million to 193 different anti-gay politicians. Walmart launched a Pride and Joy section this past year on its website to sell Pride-themed products. But the company has given almost $30,000 since 2019 to Arkansas lawmakers who recently helped pass a bill that bars gender-affirming treatments for trans youth. On Twitter, CVS swapped their white heart logo for a rainbow one for Pride. But since 2019, they have donated about $4,000 to Texas state senators who sponsored a bill that bans parents from allowing their kids to get gender-reaffirming medical care. Wells Fargo changed its Twitter banner to a spectrum of the rainbow. Since 2019, it has given $1,000 to a North Carolina state senator who allegedly shared anti-trans articles on social media. The Comcast brand Xfinity tweeted a promise to honor Pride all year long, but since 2019, Comcast gave $2,000 to a Florida legislator who ushered in a bill to exclude trans women from school sports teams. So many brands pander with rainbows and donate that money, millions of dollars, directly to anti-gay politicians. Here are a few more just from 2017 to 2018. And here are some donations to anti-gay politicians in 2020.
Bank of America, that big bank, they are celebrating Pride, but guess what? They gave $77,500 to GOP senators. Home Depot, thank you so much for your beautiful post for Pride. I just wish that you would actually stop giving $225,000 to GOP senators who are blocking the Equality Act so that people can't actually live with the person they love in the home that they want to build. Wells Fargo, thank you so much for celebrating Pride with your banner. But hey, you gave $69,000 to the GOP senators that blocked the Equality Act. Walmart, thank you for supporting Pride. But hey, the Waltons are the richest family in America, and they also have given $150,000 to GOP senators so that they can put a wall between your civil rights and actually passing the Equality Act. AbbVie, pharmaceutical drug company that charges $77,000 for an arthritis drug. They love Pride, but guess what? They've given $131,000 to the GOP in contributions. Raytheon, hey, great Twitter logo for Pride, but you have given $18,500 just to Mitch McConnell and thousands more to GOP senators. You're a defense company that doesn't defend people's rights. Hey, Goldman Sachs, thanks for your really beautiful post, but you gave gold to the GOP senators with $102,000 in contributions, the same people that blocked the Equality Act.
A LinkedIn survey that polled LGBTQ professionals found that 25% were denied raises or promotions because of their identity. 31% openly faced microaggressions or discrimination. Another 25% left their job after not feeling accepted. But the government has made some progress. In 2020, the Supreme Court of the United States expanded the list of what constitutes workplace discrimination and added that people could not be fired due to their sexual orientation or gender identity. And finally, let's talk about some really awesome ways to not rainbow wash. If you really want to support us, you can't just do it in June, and you can't just add a rainbow to your logo or packaging. Do your research before spending. You can see on Federal Election Commission records how much money businesses give to specific political campaigns. Put your money where your mouth is and donate the profits of Pride campaigns and limited product releases to actual queer organizations. Do your research on this as well. Just a real quick shout out to Landrace and Holy Smokes with their campaigns for us last year. Also, shout out to all of our incredible conference sponsors. And as awesome as we are, there are other worthy causes to look into as well. For example, Halo's Love is Love strain had donations going to Play They, a queer performance space. PAX donated $50,000 to the San Francisco GLBT Historical Society for an exhibit honoring civil rights and cannabis activist Dennis Perone. The California edibles manufacturer Plus Products donated more than $60,000 to the San Francisco LGBT Center. The donation comes from the sales of its Rainbow Sorbet limited edition gummies. Platinum Vape released a Pride-themed vape which benefited Equality California and Equality Michigan. Kush Queens made these Pride Edition bath bombs and then donated a portion of sales to Asylum Connect. Yummy Karma's Rainbow Sherbet Drops helped to support the Orange County LGBT Center. Collaborate with the LGBTQ community. Just saying that your brand supports queer rights without including any queer people in your Pride activities doesn't make any sense. Whether it be your own employees or other well-known influencers and celebrities, including members of the queer community in your Pride celebration is a great way to increase visibility. To celebrate Pride authentically, you need to center queer voices and queer experiences. A great collaboration example is the Todd Snyder and Champion campaign from H&M from 2019. Champion collaborated with an LGBTQ designer and hired LGBTQ models and influencers to showcase their products. Lowell Farm Company partnered with two queer-owned cannabis brands, Tough and Tendergrass and Ventoso Farms, to create the Pride 2020 blend, a fresh and fruity mix of Blue Hawaiian and Magic Melon. And just last month, Halo threw this event, which celebrated queer black artistry. Laganja Estranja is a well-known trans drag queen and cannabis aficionado who has been a part of several cannabis Pride campaigns. She has collaborated to create limited Pride products such as Hepburns by Mad Men and Fruit Slabs. But Laganja isn't the only one. There are tons of other individuals and artists out there. Shanita Blunt, Kisses Ash, Indica Hayes, and Rudy Rallis, just to name a few. There are also a lot of queer-owned cannabis brands you can support, such as Sonder, Besito, Can, Nectar, Green Baker, Mendy, Calexo, Stone Road, and so much more. And even if you don't collaborate with someone, at the very least, include members of the LGBTQ community in the decision-making process. Before you release your limited edition rainbow pre-rolls or your phallic bongs, make sure you've included an LGBTQ person in the ideation, planning, and execution process. Don't wait until you've put together an entire concept before getting input and ideas from LGBTQ colleagues or advisors. Include them from the very beginning. Not only will you avoid making mistakes early on, but you'll also be able to create a more authentic, meaningful campaign. And if you don't have any LGBTQ colleagues who are willing or able to assist, it is your responsibility to hire an outside advisor. Also, if you truly don't have any LGBTQ colleagues, you should reflect on that for a minute. Rethink your hiring process and company culture. Workplace policies and protections help ensure fair practices year-round. Some really great policies include diversity in hiring policy, paternal leave policies that are inclusive of all family dynamics and gender identities, insurance coverage for same-sex partners as well as spouses, transgender inclusive benefits such as transition or surgery costs, discrimination policies, and an adequate reporting procedure for discrimination. Ongoing support. Make a long-lasting commitment to support, not just 1 month out of the year. Buddy's brand, for example, supports Peer Seattle with their sales all year long. Peer Seattle is an amazing organization that helps LGBTQ people who are in recovery. Spark in San Francisco launched a compassion program in the early 2000s at the Maitrey AIDS Hospice. To this day, the company delivers free cannabis products to AIDS patients twice a month. Spotlight your team members. Are you proud of your inclusive, diverse workplace and want to spotlight some of your LGBTQ colleagues on social media? Great idea, but only if they're into it. Get their consent first. You don't always know how out someone is, or if they'll feel tokenized. Call your elected officials. Let them know your opinion on LGBTQ legislation that you would like them to take action on, including the Equality Act, which still hasn't been passed. Educate yourself. Learn about the issues that impact the LGBTQ community, like mental health stigmas, their personal experiences, and best ways to support them. For more information on how to support a diverse staff, check out our previous webinar, Recruiting and Retaining Diverse Talent. Thank you so much for watching.